What is going on, guys? DBG here. In this video, we are going to be talking about players that are going to be that I think are going to be downgraded in NBA 2K19 MyTEAM. So not 2K19, from NBA 2K19 to NBA 2K20 MyTEAM. So basically, these are going to be like rating predictions, and there are going to be 10 players that I think their overalls are going to decrease. So basically, this is all under the assumption that there's the same rating system next year. It's under the assumption that there's going to be like 4 or 5 amethysts, or maybe there was 6, 7 last year, but there's going to be a similar amount of amethysts. There's going to be a similar amount of rubies, a similar amount of sapphires, and also that's kind of the highest cards are going to be. So we kind of have to have that assumption for players, because obviously if they change the rating scheme like they did last year, like it could be just completely different. But yeah, so anyway, now let's get on to the players. So first up is a guy who was out on his own as the highest overall player last year, and it's LeBron James. Do I think LeBron James isn't the best player in the world? Probably not. Like, LeBron will probably show that he's the best player in the world. However, the thing is that I can't really justify him being the single best player in the game. So I think he's going to get downgraded 1 to a 90 overall, which I think is going to be the same ratings as the likes of Steph Curry. I think it's going to be the same rating as, I don't even know, but I think probably Giannis will be a 91. KD and Kawhi may be 91s as well, maybe the 3 of them, but I think LeBron is going to be 1 rating below those 3, even though, like, I would argue that LeBron is still the best player in the world. We just didn't see him in the playoffs because of his injury. Next up, we've got Russell Westbrook, who was a 90 overall amethyst, so obviously he was one of the best players in the game last year. Do I think he's going to be that rating this year? Not really. Like, I know he averaged a triple-double, but he's done it the last 3 years, and it's kind of no longer the most relevant thing in the world, considering they've been bounced in the first round all 3 years of the playoffs. He also is no longer the best player on his own team, with Paul George taking over as without doubt the #1 player in Oklahoma City. And yeah, like, as a top 5 player in the game, top 6 player, there is no question that Westbrook does not belong in that conversation anymore. Like, you're going to see guys like Lillard being rated equal or even higher than Westbrook next year. You're going to see a lot of guys like come up from lower tiers to higher tiers, guys like Nikola Jokic. But Westbrook, I think, is going to go down to a ruby and an 89 overall ruby. Next up is Kyrie Irving. So with Kyrie Irving, it's not as if he, as an individual, had the worst year in the world. It was just that the Celtics seemed to get better when he was gone. And as much as that's a kind of crazy thing that a team gets better losing one of the best players in the NBA, that's kind of exactly what happened. Like, it's looking like he's going to join the Brooklyn Nets, and I don't think Celtics fans are that upset. He averaged 23.8 points per game, nearly 7 assists per game, which is the highest of his career. He had a really solid year, but the Boston Celtics were disappointing, and I'm not going to say he was bad, but Kyrie was disappointing. I think he goes down to the same rating as Russell Westbrook, an 89 overall ruby. Although I think Kyrie did have a better season than Westbrook, I just think kind of the narrative around him means that he's not going to be one of those top 5 or 6 players. And to bring up guys like Paul George to amethyst, to bring up guys like Jokic to amethyst, some people have got to be moved down, and I think that Kyrie and Westbrook are going to be definitely 2 of them. Next up, we have got CP3. Chris Paul was seen by a lot of people as the best pure point guard in the NBA like a year ago. Chris Paul has had such a fall from grace this season. Although, like, stats-wise, he hasn't dropped too much. He still didn't average over 9 assists a game. Like, he averaged 8.2 assists per game. He only scored 15 points a game, but albeit he was off the ball a lot of the time. CP3 is still an elite player in basketball. It's just that he's no longer in the very, very elite players, as in, like, the top 10. Very few people have him in that conversation. And also his team didn't even make the conference finals. So I think that he's actually going to go down from an 89 overall ruby, which is like the 7th or something best player in the game, tied. I think he's going to go down from that rating to probably an 86 overall sapphire is my prediction for CP3. Next up is a nominee for biggest downgrade in NBA 2K19. Sorry, from NBA 2K19 to NBA 2K20. So it's Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward, the last time he played before his injury, was averaging 22 points per game and doing it fairly efficiently for the Utah Jazz. That's why he got the 86 overall card. However, with the Boston Celtics, he didn't start, averaged 11 points per game, and just like Kyrie Irving, the team seemed to be better when he wasn't there. So there is no question about it that Hayward's going to be downgraded. Do I think 2K are going to be harsh on him? Not necessarily. Like, if 2K want to be harsh, I genuinely think that they could make Gordon Hayward an 80 overall Emerald. But I think they're going to be a little bit less harsh, and he's going to be an 82 overall Emerald. That's my prediction. Next up, we've got John Wall, and this is a kind of a weird one because it's just injuries more than anything. John Wall has one of the worst may have one of the worst contracts in the history of the NBA. Even worse than the Gilbert Arenas contract. Like, John Wall's could actually be worse when it's all said and done, because he may barely play. Like, last season, he did average 20 points a game in the 32 games he played. He probably would have been an all-star. However, like, that's just not, like, he's just not playing. He's out in his last 2 seasons. He's played 41 and 32 games and is out all of next season. I can't see him staying as an 88 overall Ruby. Sorry, because even though he's been solid, he's just had so many injuries. This isn't like Derrick Rose, one big injury where he kept his rating. This isn't something like an Embiid with massive injuries and never played and kept his rating. John Wall has been injured the last 2 years, is inconsistent in his playing, and was on a Wizards team that weren't great even when he was there. So I can't see him being any higher than an 86 overall Sapphire. Next, we've got another one of the worst contracts in the NBA. It is Hassan Whiteside. As a Miami Heat fan, I was really frustrated when Hassan Whiteside re-signed, because I thought he was terrible in 2016, and he's now looking fairly terrible. Averaged 12.3 points per game, down from 14 last year and 17 the year before. He didn't start in 19 games for the Heat, only played 23 minutes a game, down from 32 from 2 seasons ago. And rebounding, still 11.3 isn't bad. Blocks per game is down to 1.9 as well. Like, at one stage he was averaging nearly 4 blocks a game, and he's just not that player anymore. Hassan Whiteside is no longer a great center in the NBA. Terrible contract, and I think he is going to go down to an 80 overall Emerald. Next, we've got another case of, like, what could have been. And it's Jabari Parker. 2 ACL tears in his first 3 years in the NBA destroyed his career. In his 3rd year, he averaged over 20 points per game. Last season, he was being benched by the Chicago Bulls and then didn't start for the Washington Wizards, who were a bad team. Like, there's no question about it that he's getting downgraded. He was an 82 overall Emerald to start last year. Like, that is absolutely nuts. I can't see him being an Emerald. I'm predicting 78 overall goals for Jabari Parker. Sure, he can score a little bit, but like, look, he's just nothing special anymore, to be completely honest, as a player. And it's a pity, because coming out of 2014 draft, he looked great. Just injuries have taken their toll completely on his career. And last up, we have got DeMarcus Cousins. Do I think, like, my prediction of what he should be is actually a lot lower than what I'm going to say here. My actual rating prediction for DeMarcus Cousins is he's an 87 overall Ruby, because regardless of how not great he was this year, and he showed in the playoffs he's an absolute liability on defense, I think that his just kind of overall skill and what he had shown previously would be enough to keep him an 87 overall Ruby. I think DeMarcus Cousins, it's kind of weird his NBA career. I think he will never be an all-star and make it past the first round of the playoffs in the same season. That is my prediction. I think that he's a guy who, if he goes to a bad team in free agency, could still put up 25 a game and look like the best center in basketball. However, if he goes to a good team, he's going to be exposed for his defense. I just think he's that type of player. But that's not really we're not really talking about opinions. We're talking purely about overalls. I think 87 overall Ruby is kind of fair. He is an extremely good offensive player, and in the things that matter in 2K, he's good at. Like defensive IQ, ability to switch off screens doesn't actually affect ratings. So I think he's still going to be rated highly enough. So anyway, that's the video. These are my rating predictions for NBA 2K20. And these are guys I think are going to be downgraded. I have done an upgraded video where I talk about the likes of Pascal Siakam. I'm pretty sure I brought up Paul George in that video as well. But yeah, so I might do probably one more upgrade prediction, one more downgrade prediction, and I'll probably just do like a rookies rating prediction and maybe a sophomores one, and that's probably going to be about it for the year. But yeah, so leave in the comments any players you guys think that I missed. And there was a lot of players that I was considering dropping, but the playoff runs kind of changed it. It's like Marc Gasol, an 84 overall Sapphire, and even though like he didn't have the best like statistics-wise season in Toronto, he did have a really solid playoffs, and his team won an NBA championship, so that kind of boosts him up a few ratings. And people are kind of prisoners at the moment, so for that reason, some guys like Boogie may even be downgraded by more than I thought. It was like why Tatum last year after his playoff run became an 84 overall Sapphire, which is crazy. But yeah, so anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.